All right, so buckle up,
Yeah.
because today we're diving into some seriously uncharted territory. Conor McGregor, the king of the octagon,
Mm.
is making moves that have everyone talking.
Yeah.
And no, it's not about a comeback fight.
Right.
The man's hinting at a run for president of Ireland, him for dropping opponents.
Yeah.
But could he be aiming for a political knockout next?
Yeah, it's a move that's as unexpected as it is fascinating. You don't often see someone transition from, a career in combat sports to the world of politics.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
all kicked off with his St. Patrick's Day visit to the White House,
Yeah.
which, let's be honest, was a head scratcher but what's a UFC fighter doing, rubbing shoulders with politicians on a day celebrating Irish heritage?
Well, the invitation came from Donald Trump, which adds a whole other layer to this story.
Right.
This visit wasn't just about celebrating, it was about making a statement.
And a statement he made, he complimented Trump's work ethic, and that soundbite
Oh, yeah.
spread like wildfire on social media.
It's worth noting that this wasn't just a casual compliment. This was during a politically charged time. And McGregor used the opportunity to align himself with Trump, at least in terms of work ethic. It's a tactic we've seen before, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. It makes you wonder if McGregor's taking a page out of the playbook of other populist figures who've successfully tapped into that same sentiment.
It's certainly a possibility, but things didn't stop there.
Right.
McGregor then used the White House press briefing as a platform to critique Irish immigration policies.
And he didn't mince words, did he? He went straight for the jugular, accusing the government of zero action with zero accountability and calling the situation an illegal immigration racket. He even went as far as expressing concerns about Ireland losing its identity.
Strong words, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where the real eyebrow raiser came.
Okay.
He announced he's considering running for president of Ireland, not next year, not down the road, but later this year.
No, that's a bombshell. Talk about a career pivot from cage fighting to leading a nation. It's almost like he's trying to embody the Irish spirit in a whole new way.
It's certainly audacious. This isn't just switching weight classes. This is a whole different sport altogether.
And the reactions back in Ireland, let's just say they weren't rolling out the green carpet. Prime Minister Micheál Martin and Deputy Prime Minister Simon Harris came out swinging publicly, denouncing McGregor's statements.
They didn't just disagree, they fundamentally rejected his views as unrepresentative of the Irish people and the spirit of St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
It's interesting to consider the political landscape here. The current Irish government leans more liberal, which clashes pretty directly with the kind of rhetoric McGregor was using. It sets up a potentially very interesting dynamic if he does decide to run.
It's like watching a political drama unfold in real time and knowing McGregor, this is just the first act.
Absolutely. This isn't his first rodeo with controversy. His past legal issues and outspoken personality are well documented. This could be a strategic career pivot, a way to reinvent himself and stay in the spotlight.
This isn't exactly a guy known for shying away from attention, right?
Right.
And politics, especially in the age of social media, is one giant unpredictable stage.
Right. And this brings up a huge question. Will this move elevate his status or further damage his image?
It really does make you wonder, doesn't it? Could this be a calculated move to tap into a new audience? Could there be a whole segment of voters out there who might not typically engage with politics, but are drawn to McGregor's star power?
It's definitely a possibility. He has a massive following, and he's proven time and again that he knows how to grab attention.
Right.
But can he convert that into political capital? Can he convince people he's serious about governing and not just putting on a show?
See, that's what I keep coming back to.
Yeah.
This isn't just promoting a fight or a brand.
Right.
This is about potentially leading a nation.
Mm-hmm.
It requires a different kind of strategy and a whole lot more substance.
Exactly, and that's where things get really interesting. He's built a career on being brash and outspoken. But those qualities can be liabilities in the political arena. How does he reconcile his take-no-prisoners persona with the need to appeal to a broader electorate?
I mean, just imagine him in a political debate. Would he stick to policy points, or would we see a return of the Conor McGregor who trash-talked his way to the top of the UFC?
It's a fascinating dilemma, isn't it? His boldness and willingness to speak his mind are part of his appeal, but they could also alienate potential voters who are looking for a more measured and diplomatic leader. It's a tightrope walk, and the stakes are incredibly high.
This whole situation has me thinking about the evolving relationship between celebrity and politics. It feels like the lines are getting blurrier than ever before.
Absolutely. We've seen actors, musicians, and even reality TV stars enter the political arena.
Right.
McGregor is just the latest and perhaps most unexpected example of this trend. It makes you wonder if we're entering an era where name recognition and social media savvy carry more weight than traditional political experience.
And McGregor's a master of social media. No doubt, this whole White House episode wouldn't have had nearly as much impact without social media amplifying it. It's like his comments went from a whisper to a roar overnight.
Social media has become a powerful tool for shaping public opinion and driving political discourse. It can be a force for good, but it can also be used to spread misinformation and amplify divisive rhetoric. It's a double-edged sword, for sure.
Which brings us back to you, dear listener. What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Does McGregor's move into politics excite you, concern you, or maybe a little bit of both? It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but that's what makes it so compelling to unpack.
It really forces us to confront some fundamental questions. What qualities do we value in our leaders? Are we moving towards a system where celebrity trumps experience, where sound bites matter more than policy proposals? These are questions we all need to grapple with as we navigate this changing landscape.
I've got to admit, even I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it all. A few years ago, the idea of a UFC fighter running for president would have been a punchline. Now it's a real possibility. It's like we're watching a social experiment play out in real time, and the outcome is anyone's guess.
And it's not just about McGregor, is it? This is about the bigger picture, about how we define leadership in the 21st century. Are we ready for a world where anyone with a big enough platform and a knack for self-promotion can throw their hat into the political ring?
It's a bit like watching one of those disaster movies, where everything's normal one minute, then bam, the ground starts shaking and all bets are off, except in this case,
Yeah.
the earthquake is Conor McGregor deciding to shake up the Irish political landscape.
And we're all glued to the screen waiting to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Will he actually follow through with this presidential bid? Will he be able to shift from the bravado of the octagon to the nuance of political strategy?
Honestly, it's making me rethink everything I thought I knew about politics a few years ago. The idea of someone with McGregor's background, even considering a presidential run, would have been laughable. But here we are.
It speaks to the changing nature of power, doesn't it? Traditional paths to leadership, climbing the ranks of a political party, years of public service, those seem almost quaint compared to McGregor's approach. Build a massive platform, cultivate an image, and then leverage that into political influence.
So what does this all mean? What are the key takeaways from this deep dive into Conor McGregor's political ambitions?
I think the biggest takeaway is that we're in uncharted territory. The old rules of politics are being rewritten right before our eyes. Celebrity social media and a willingness to disrupt the status quo are becoming increasingly powerful forces.
And it's a reminder that we, the audience, are not just passive observers. We have a role to play in shaping this new landscape. We have to engage critically with the information we consume, challenge assumptions, and demand more from our leaders.
Exactly. Don't just accept things at face value. Ask yourself, what are this person's motivations? What are the potential consequences of their actions? And most importantly, what do I believe?
So, dear listener, as we wrap up this wild ride, we leave you with this final thought. Conor McGregor's move into politics, whether you see it as a publicity stunt or a genuine attempt to lead, forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths about how power is gained and wielded in the 21st century.
What does it mean for a nation's leadership when someone with a background like McGregor's enters the political arena? What does this say about how we view traditional paths to power? And perhaps most importantly, what does it say about us, the electorate, and what we value in our leaders?
Keep those questions in mind as you watch this story unfold, because one thing's for sure, the game has changed, and we're all players now. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and stay engaged.